So we are looking at two information structures that are prevailed that exist in the industry right now. So look at the tech companies, for example, Intel, that has laid down the path of how they are going to launch different processors over time. So they have made this public about their launching strategy. So they have pre-announced this information. Compare this with this Apple. Apple is very secretive about their product launches. They don't say when they are going to launch newer iPhones. So they don't pre-announce their products beforehand. So these are two different information structures that we look at. With this new demand structure, I was saying, when consumers are smart and they consider purchasing product over time, knowing that something new might be just around the corner, so they might hold back on purchasing and such. So we are looking at these two different information structure and comparing the best in both the scenarios, and looking at what scenario or what information structure is better than the other, if so. What happens in pre-announcing situation is following. If you pre-announce that what technology products you are going to launch over time, then consumers are going to purchase those products, and firm's best launch strategy is of the following type, which is very interesting. So firm, a company, let's say Apple, should launch products such that first phone that they launch has little bit of technological innovation compared to the previous one, and at that time they would commit saying, you know what, second phone is little bit far, so you should buy this phone, although it has not a major innovation compared to previous one, and for the second one, which is far away, there will be a bigger innovation in that. So this kind of corresponds to Apple's strategy of doing like 4S, 5S, and 6S, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of believed that the S innovation, so to speak, isn't as a bigger innovation compared to the numbered innovation. So the innovation difference, I would say, between 4S and 4 is not as big as let's say 4S and 5, where 5 had a bigger screen, better screen, and many other innovations compared to the differential of 4S and 4. So such launch strategy is the optimal launch strategy on firm's part, and consumers would buy these products because you are nudging them to buy more often by saying that you know what, you should buy 4S because 5 is a little bit farther. So the technology difference between, so it's a small technology difference and then a bigger technology difference, and so on and so forth. Now that was the pre-announcing part. If you don't announce anything, theoretically, what would happen is consumers will anticipate what happens in future. So they would solve a complicated, again, game theory problem in technical sense, and the outcome would be following. If you don't pre-announce, for the firm it's optimal to launch a new product when they hit a fixed innovation threshold, and that's a fixed number that we characterize, and consumers will buy that. But in that sense, overall, consumers will buy less often compared to pre-announcing. So pre-announcing is much better than holding back the information. And what happens is, the part where you pre-announce, you get more money. That's kind of obvious in the literature. The good part is, in revenue management, there are scenarios where you can make 2% difference. And this is an industry where it's worth $40 billion. So 2% of 40 billion is a lot of money. So the good and surprising part is, we can completely characterize the strategy, how we should launch it. We can also characterize what's the optimal price if you are going to go for certain type of strategy.